Alright, so the Bills lost to the Chiefs on Monday evening football, 26-17. And right from the get-go here, I am going to talk to you about the strategy that I think the Bills tried to employ against the defending Super Bowl champions. And then you, as viewers, get to tell me that I'm crazy or stupid or dumb or whatever it is you're feeling. Please, share it with me. Am I giving the Bills too much credit or whatever? Whatever it is you're feeling, share it with me. You can even share it with me on Twitter. I typically leave this information for the end of the video, but my Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. So hit me up on there. We can talk about this strategy that I'm about to talk to you about, or anything Bills football. Anyway, the strategy that I was alluding to, that I have talked about on this channel many times before, maybe even as recently as last week, but definitely this season, is to essentially allow teams to run the football on you in place of getting beat through the air, really. And when the other team has Patrick Mahomes, I think that that idea has some merit. Not only do they have Patrick Mahomes, but they have Tyreek Hill and Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So why would you want to get into a track meet with that team? I think a lot of fans turned the game on and expected the Bills to sort of just to try to be the Bills that they have been for the past 5 weeks. And I understand why you would think that. And instead, what you got, I tweeted this earlier in the week, was like Pacquiao Mayweather. You went in expecting offense and like a trading of punches and whatnot, and what you got was relatively boring offense and a champion that was never really truly threatened. I know that the Bills were in the game late. They ended up having an opportunity to get the ball back with, about 3 or 4 minutes left, with a chance to win the game, to maybe win the game, to take the lead at least with a touchdown and an extra point. Now, reverting back a little bit, was the plan to give up 245 yards? No, rushing, I mean. Was it to allow 9 of 14 third downs? Definitely not, because this strategy is really kind of, what's vital to it is that you get off the field on third downs. Not allow drives of Kansas City, a 12-play scoring drive, a 13-play scoring drive, a 10-play scoring drive, a 12-play scoring drive. But I think that they were okay with that in a sense. They obviously wanted to get stops, maybe hold them to field goals and things of that nature. But they didn't want like the 3-play drives for 85 yards and a touchdown. They didn't want those quick scores from the Chiefs. They didn't want to let the Chiefs be the Chiefs. They wanted to keep the game close. They didn't want to be up 21-3 or 28-3 like they were against the Rams, and the Rams led this furious comeback. And then the Chiefs, likewise, just to make an Avengers reference, just hulk up and just become the Chiefs and just unload bullets on you left and right, and bang, they're back into the game. We saw them do it against the Texans in the playoffs last year, but we've seen them do it multiple times before. So I don't think the Bills were really necessarily crazy to use that type of strategy, if I'm correct in thinking that. Again, you might not necessarily agree with that. My biggest disappointment really lied with the offense. I didn't expect them, again, to try to get out to some huge lead. I thought they would try to keep it close and beat the Chiefs late. And I think that that was maybe better. Even with the people I was watching the game with, when the score was like 13-10, we're like, maybe this is better going into halftime, because if we were up, the Chiefs would just start throwing all over the place. And do we really want that? No. Let them run all over the place. Andy Reid has never, in his 20 or 25 years of coaching, never had an individual player rush the ball 26 times like Clyde Edwards-Helaire did. With Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid has never thrown the ball less than 50% on less than 50% of his offensive plays. He did it. He did both of those things on Monday. So the Bills just wanted the Chiefs to win in an unconventional way, and them being the well-coached team and with the best player in the league and the defending Super Bowl champions they are, they got it done. But I still don't really blame the Bills for thinking they could maybe come away with a victory in the manner in which they attempted to do so. The number one thing that I'm disappointed with, obviously, and Buffalo fans protect Josh Allen like he was their son. They really do. And I am not here for like the slander of Josh Allen and the dragging of Josh Allen on the internet, like especially the PFF guys, I will call it out when I don't really necessarily agree with it. I do think he's deserving of the criticism this week. 14 of 27 for 122 yards. It's just not going to get it done. He adds 42 rushing yards, which was a wrinkle that they really haven't used in the past couple of weeks. And he ends up leading the team in rushing yards. So the Bills are unable to run the football. They're unable to stop the run. And I hate that. Oh, I hate that. You don't have to be married to that idea that that's how you win championships. Or the championship teams run the ball and stop the run. Like, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, not really running the ball like crazy or stopping the run by using Patrick Mahomes. So that's why the Bills did what they did on Monday to get them maybe a little bit out of their element, but they're a really good team. And maybe they would have done it had they got off the field on like a 3rd and 12. What later, I'm getting away from the offense again, but here we are. Josh Allen having a terrible game, doesn't go over 60 yards passing until the 3rd quarter, which is just reminiscent of his rookie year, really. It's just flat out bad. I'm not listening to any excuse for weather or anything. Both teams are playing in the weather. I don't want to hear it, really. But to his credit, gets the Bills down the field, makes it 23-17, 6.5 minutes to go. The Bills' defense, because the Chiefs want to run the ball, they force a 3rd and long. The Chiefs go -4 yards on 1st down, almost get a fumble recovery. Boy, would I love to live in that 10 seconds where we thought that the Bills had recovered a fumble. Wasn't that great? What a great just moment that was until they showed the replay. Wasn't it? Anyway, so it's 2nd and 14 for the Chiefs. They throw this short little pass to a guy I've never even heard of for 2 yards, and it's 3rd and 12. And the Bills, much to their credit, they didn't bring a lot of pressure all day. Mahomes pretty much stood back there. And the Bills had really good coverage in the secondary for the most part, I would say. How many times did you see a Chiefs receiver like running in stride catching passes? Maybe like 3? And we're going to talk about one in just a second. Kelsey had a nice touchdown. Kelsey always gets his. He's a mismatch for linebackers. He's a mismatch for safeties. He's 1 and 1A with George Kittle in the league. I was not surprised to see him go off. But Tyreek Hill had 4 touches for 25 yards. Demarcus Robinson led them in receiving, which obviously you're taking before the game. So many of Mahomes' receivers were turned around facing him. Like just facing the line of scrimmage, and he just throws it to them, and then they get tackled right away or fall forward for a couple yards or whatever. That's kind of how the Chiefs' passing offense was working, and it was different. And I didn't really hate it. I kind of dragged Josh Norman a little bit in this video last week. He allowed 6 completions on 7 targets. Tre'Davious White not even targeted. So there maybe are some personnel issues on defense, especially up front. The Bills didn't even blitz. They didn't get pressure because they didn't blitz. They blitzed on 1 play. They were credited with blitzing 1 time. It was a corner blitz with Taron Johnson on 4th and 1 that the Chiefs gave to Darrell Williams. They ended up running for a 13-yard touchdown. That's the only blitz of the game. Other than that, they were falling back into coverage, and that is where a lot of those plays, like run, turn around, catch. That's where a lot of those passing plays came from. But I got to go back probably a minute or 2 here. It's 3rd and 12 with 4.5 minutes to go, and the Bills flush Mahomes. He's not really hurried, I would say, but they flush him out of the pocket, and he's looking, and as soon as he lets it go, you just know. He's got that type of reputation. As soon as he lets it go, you just know somebody's going to be there to catch the ball. You don't really expect it to be Byron Pringle. But it was, because Pringle is Edmonds' guy off the line, and Poyer has Kelsey, and then Poyer jumps up on Kelsey when Mahomes leaves the pocket, even though Edmonds is maybe sort of sliding, and maybe there's supposed to be some sort of handoff there, like Poyer's supposed to stay with Pringle because he's sliding behind, and Edmonds is supposed to stay with the tight end. I don't really know. I'm not going to blame either one of them for that play, but they both go to Kelsey, and there's Byron Pringle for essentially what becomes the game-sealing 37-yard game, because the Bills just have to start using their timeouts. They allow a field goal. They're down by 9. So they could have, this is going back again, I suppose, should they have gone for 2 to make it 23-18, or at least try to make it 23-18 after the Beasley touchdown? I say yes. I say yes that they should have, because you should assume that you're going to be scored on. Or you should plan for the option that you're scored on. And if you allow a field goal, being down 8 gives you that chance. If you don't get the 2-point conversion, you're still down 7. You still have the chance to get back into the game if you get the ball back. But you have to obviously plan on getting the ball back. But if you allow 7, if you allow a touchdown, you know you're down by 2 scores. You should plan for maybe being potentially down by just 1 score, maybe allowing a field goal, and in that case, you should think about those kind of things. And the Bills have been pretty good about that for the most part, and they've been really a lot better about it as McDermott has gone along here, as he's been the head coach. But I thought that was, an opportunity there for them to maybe, just for like, it's thinking ahead strategy. Him being the defensive coach that he is, maybe just didn't plan on letting Kansas City score. You know? And to the Bills' credit, they only allowed 26 points to a team that typically averages 30. And some of you will probably say, maybe it kind of felt like the Chiefs held themselves to 26 points. Exactly. Because they didn't become the Chiefs, because that's the strategy that the Bills employed. And like that, coming back, it's coming full circle right now, 11 minutes in. But bottom line, the Bills are still 4-2. They just can't have offensive performances like that. Devin Singletary 10 for 32. Josh 122 passing yards. As I said earlier, didn't go over like 60 passing yards until the third quarter. As I said, who are these Bills? What is going on there? I don't think it was something necessarily that the Chiefs were doing. I really don't believe that. I don't think that. I know that there's been a lot of talk lately about how teams are just running zone and not allowing Allen to get chunk plays, and he's being forced to take underneath plays, and he is always looking for like those first downs. He kind of plays football like a lot of kids play Madden. They don't really like second downs. They just want first downs all the time. Every play needs to be beyond the sticks. Just keep it moving. Chunk plays, chunk plays, chunk plays. Sorry, I ran out of breath there. But he's going to have to start taking what's underneath. And not necessarily that he's not capable of doing that, but I mean, just what an abomination Monday night was. And hopefully there's no continuation. And there shouldn't be. There really shouldn't be, because the Bills play the Jets this week. Do I preview this game? The Bills are 13-point favorites. The Jets might get Sam Darnold back with a bad shoulder. He says he's experiencing pain still in the shoulder, but he'll manage. Is that the best idea? I don't know. But the Jets, a team in 2020, the past couple of weeks, has rolled out Joe Flacco and Frank Gore. That is who they are putting out there in an attempt, they say, to win football games in 2020. Joe Flacco and Frank Gore. Come on, what a pathetic franchise from top to bottom. I mean, Adam Gase is just completely lost. The GM, who's Joe Douglas, this is the roster you built. You decide you're better off without Le'Veon Bell and Leonard Williams and Jamal Adams and whoever. It's not your fault C.J. Mosley opted out, but like, is that really going to make that big of a difference? Like, he could make a difference, but are you still 0-6? Probably. So the Bills should beat. The Bills, they're 13-point favorites. They should beat the Jets on Sunday. I'm going to say 31-16. Let's get right back on track. People will probably still detract from the Bills because they'll have they'll be the only team in the league with 2 layup wins against the Jets. So they'll be 3-2 in their other games. Granted, the 2 teams they've lost to, the Titans and the Chiefs, are a combined 10-1. I think that's part of the story as well. There was some uncertainty with when the Titans game would even be played. I think a lot of fans just kind of sort of wrote that off, or just, maybe just like, maybe use it as an excuse or some sort of crutch, like, all right, let's just get that one behind us. Let's attack the Chiefs. And the Bills end up losing. But the good news is that they're still 4-2, guys. They are a game up in the division, not even on New England. They're a game up in the division on Miami, who has just turned to Tua, and leave it up to Bills fans to not really understand why they would do that. Seems like Miami's kind of on the road to 8-8, so why wouldn't they just see what they have now in the quarterback? Makes sense to me. Anyway, the Patriots are 2-3, and they're coming up in 2 weeks. They are playing the Niners this week, so they will at best be 3-3. Hopefully the Bills will be 5-2, really trying to put some separation in the division. Let's get after it, guys. Hit me up on Twitter, like I said earlier. My YouTube username and Twitter handle are the same. Enjoy your weekend, as always, above all else. Go Bills.